This is Silapathai Jockygym at the Jockygym. He came here when he was 10 years old, and he fought for them until he was 28. So he basically grew up at this gym.
Yeah.
And his style is really beautiful. He was 3-time Rajadamnern champion at 122 pounds. You can see just in the way that he moves his feet and the kind of like explosiveness in his movements, how everything kind of fit together with him as a fighter. He's really, really quick. And so here he's just having me warm up. He just wants to see how I move, to what extent I know each of the weapons, so that he knows like what to work on. He had a very sweet energy and laugh about the kind of details that he was giving me in his different instructions. I liked him a lot. He's right-handed naturally, but fought left-handed. And when I told him that I'm like that, he was like, "Oh, me too!" Like he was really into that. But the Jockygym produced a lot of really good southpaw fighters. There, he's making a point about keeping my guard hand up on the turn, but you can see how loose the arm that he throws is in opposition to keeping his guard up. And he does switch all the way around, but look at how he catches himself on the other side. So he's not like spinning without control. He's bringing the full range of the kick, but catching himself on the far end of it. And look at that little pull across on the low kick. That's a leg kick. See how he like brings his knee first and then the extension of the shin after it? Sagat does that also. I'm kind of bringing it all as an arc, whereas he comes with his knee first and then extends the shin. He's like unfolding a knife almost. And so I'm saying jangwa, which in Thai is like rhythm. Because I can see that when he's showing me things, he's using this incredible rhythm that I don't have when I'm trying to imitate it. And Kevin is pointing out here the flex in Silapathai's knees. Look at the bow and how wide his stance is. So he's saying you use your rhythm and you wait for your opponent, and then as your opponent starts to come towards you, you can do this spinning back elbow. From how I'm standing, I'm actually, you can throw either elbow, but he switches me and wants me to throw from the other side. So basically whatever your front foot is, you want to step across the opponent with that. So if I'm standing southpaw, instead of bringing my back leg forward, I should be bringing my front foot outside his stance and going with my left elbow. The reason for that is actually how he stands. The way your opponent stands, you want to be hitting their open side, but you can go in either direction. Look at how he comes like over, and then there's that final extension at the end of it. It's kind of the same as his leg kick, but he like arcs the elbow down into the face, and he turns and looks at it as he's going. It's I think in ballet they call it spotting, when you're doing turns and like keep turning so that you're looking at one spot so you don't get dizzy. So he calls it a swing elbow, which I kind of like because his execution of it is very much like a swing. But look at how he's emphasizing how you move forward and how you move back. He's very controlled in his pacing of like stepping forward, stepping back to constantly keep this distance between him and his opponent. His fighting style is female, like he's very technical. But his favorite weapons are a teep and a head kick, or a middle kick, but it's just teep kick. But what's brilliant about how he uses it is that he keeps his opponent at the range he wants them at all times. So if they're trying to come in on him, he's like, not yet with his teep. And then he'll fire his kick to get huge points, or to land on the head, or anything like this.
ยาวใช่ไหม
It's not the complication of weapons or the like variety of weapons. It's how you use them, and the way he uses them for timing is what demonstrates his IQ.
ใช่
Here's making a point about how to dodge his kick and which arm to get out of the way. So you have to keep an arm up as a guard. You don't just want to throw your arms down, and you don't want to keep both of them up, which is what I was doing. Because that arm coming down is not so much functional for it coming down by itself, but it is relaxation. Here he's making a point about how to teep the leg. He teeps the leg a lot, but he turns his foot sideways, so you actually get a bigger target. If you turn your foot sideways, you can hit across the thigh, whereas if you're just hitting with the ball of your foot, you can slip off very easily because of all the oil and Vaseline and it being a small target. So not only is putting your foot across the leg making it a bigger target, which is good, and you can get like a better base contact, but when you turn your knee out like that for that kind of kick,
Tell him you
it
see.
changes the kind of like trajectory of how you're punching into your leg. So I'm telling him when I watch your fights, I see you do this all day, and he's like, yeah. That's style Silapathai. I'm asking if you do the same thing on the teep to the body, or if it's only to the leg. But he teeps. Kevin and I call it the monkey teep. He teeps with his knee to the side and his toes facing out, regardless of the teep.
ใช่
What he's doing with his hand there is showing me how he wants me to turn my foot.
ใช่
No. Look at his balance on it. Look at how it comes out all as one piece. He's not bringing the knee up and then flicking the foot out. The whole thing is coming up as one piece, poking, like as a
นี่ไม่ตรงไหน
like battering.
ไม่ต้องแรงครับเบรกจึ๊ก
เน้น
สีมือจึ๊ก
สุดเกิน
So I'm asking him, does it have to be very hard when you hit the leg? And he's like, no, not at all. That part's just irritating. You're basically just toasting your opponent. But then when you teep the body, that one you want power.
มาดูจึ๊กเฮ้ยมาดูจึ๊กจึ๊กนะสวิงโบ้
Look how he fits it together with a jab. So when you jab and teep, you can be closing distance, but you can also be tagging your opponent as they're trying to come in to like keep them in a spot. And then when they keep pushing forward, when they're like, screw you, you're just jabbing and teeping, I can walk through that. That's when he does that spinning back elbow.
ไม่มีแรงที่นี่โอเค
อ๋อรีแลกซ์
เห็นแหละ
He's saying if you make that other arm too tight, you don't have any power on the elbow. Like you want the elbow to swing. So even though you keep your guard up as you swing around, you don't want your guard arm to be tight.
ครับ
He actually drops it down a little bit.
ก็ชิวฮึบฮึบเลี้ยว
This move is kind of fancy. Like it tends to be a move that you're like, oh, you know, teach the student a spinning back elbow because it makes them feel like they learned a cool trick. It's not like that with him. He actually knocked out 3 opponents with a spinning back elbow, including Weerapon, who's an incredible, tough boxing opponent who also beat Silapathai.
กินน้ำก่อนครับ
What I like about that spinning back elbow is that the point of it is the timing.
point of
Like
that
you're catching
relaxation,
someone as they're trying
like,
to
as
come
you
in
step-
on you.
to not have that guard up. Like there's the point of having the guard up because putting tension in that spot generates power, but the turn generates the power, so you want to generate the
Whip.
range of motion,
The whip, yeah, and the range of
relaxation
motion.
instead.
So there I was feeling the difference between when you keep your guard up because the tension in the arm of the arm being up in guard can help generate power on the opposite side. But because you're stepping in for that swing elbow, the step is what generates the power. So you don't actually need the guard hand to be tight in order to generate the power on the opposite side, which is why the looseness that he advocates works on that stepping in swing elbow.
Deep kick.
But here he's going to get into how to like use rhythm and evasiveness.
ครับฮัชชิวเย็ดฮัชชิว
Incredibly fast and like hard to track.
ฮัชชิวเฮ้ย
So he wants me to use teeps to kind of like interrupt his rhythm and keep him at a distance, like basically take him off of his rhythm as much as I can. It's a little bit difficult for me because I don't have my own rhythm that I'm working off of. But because he does, these teeps and jabs and like constant pecking is really effective for him to just keep interrupting his opponent. Look at how he just matadors me. So when you do that step off, you want to step off and have at least 1 second punctuated pause before you fire your shot. One, because as you're twisting out, if you try to fire, you're going to take all the power out of your shot. But you also make it muddy. Like, if you look at everything that he's doing, he's percussive. Like, you can see every single one of his movements. Even though not all of them are technically doing anything, they're all functional. Like, they're all very visible. So that when he's getting out of the way, you see him getting out of the way.
Yeah.
Punctuation point on the end of his elbow. And he does that like pop right at the end.
Yeah. Back.
Even when he's resetting to have me do it again, the way he resets his feet, you can see his rhythms. He doesn't like my teep. No. See how he teeped and then got right back in his position?
How do you do that? You turn your foot's not turning.
Yeah.
He
Your
wants
foot
it kind of
isn't turning.
high.
Ask
He
him.
basically teeps the diaphragm.
Play.
Song sapok means send your hip. So like you push your hip forward. Look at how fast his teep is though.
ครับที่นี่ศิลปะไทยที่นี่แต่ทุกคนที่นี่
ใช่
ศิลปะไทยเซมที่นี่แสนชัยเลือดศิลา
ใช่
He said Silapathai only does the foot sideways like this. The knee is always out. So no matter where, like what height he's teeping, his knee is out and his foot is sideways for that teep.
ปั๊บยับปุ๊บสวิงนะบุ๊ก
He wants me to think about the shoulder that's actually throwing the elbow.
ปุ๊บสวิงนะบุ๊ก
And again, the reason I'm stepping across like this is because I'm standing southpaw and he's standing southpaw. So I'm trying to go into his open side.
ยับgoodนี่แหละ
So if he switches his stance like this, now I would want to come with my back foot.
There's this like timing thing.
What's
The
that?
bend in his legs.
Oh, is
I
it?
can see it when
He
What's
also
amazing
put
is that
weight
the
on
way
his
that
front
he's
leg.
like moving constantly, his
forward.
little like water
Starting
skipper
to hurt
motion,
when he's coming
it
up.
actually makes me really tense to like even try to imitate him. Which means
Can
that
you
his
run and,
opponents probably had a little bit of
get your
that
phone
too. I mean,
real
a
quick?
lot of them were really high level, so they had their own things going on. But when he's constantly moving like that, it's very hard to keep up. He's showing me how not to like shrimp on that block, to keep your back straight and kind of have a good posture to stand well while you're blocking. So if you look at his feet and you look at my feet, when he decides to stand his ground, he's got this beautiful wide stance and he's just not going to go back. Like he's going to teep me or block or interrupt whatever my attempt to move off his spot is. But he's not like hopping out of the way. He's staying grounded, but he looks really evasive. Look at his front foot. He's doing all this like rhythmic moving back and forth, but his front foot stays exactly where it is. He's not giving up any ground.
No.
No. No. Not turning his foot on that one. He could kick me literally anytime he wanted to. His kick is really fast, which is fine. Lots of people have really fast kicks, but I couldn't even see it starting. Like, if you block, it's because you see the start of the kick, not because you see the whole kick. I can't see it at all. What's great about watching his fights from the golden age is that when he kicks and when he teeps, they look exactly the same. So, as an opponent, you don't know whether he's going to teep you or whether he's going to kick you. And if you decide to block, you're on one leg, and he's probably just going to teep you. But he really emphasized that teep coming up higher. He wants it basically like at the diaphragm, like right at the bottom of your solar plexus. It knocks the wind out of you. So there I played with him a little bit. I made it look like a teep, but actually kicked him, and he was happy with it, even though there's no power on it, whereas his kicks have some pretty decent power on them.
Ui.
But this is crazy. Look at how he can just stay on one leg. He's on one leg being like, I'm going to TP you or block you or whatever. And he can stay there. So he's saying that he wants this to be strong. See how he wants my shin to twist? It like rolls before it hits him so that I really thud as I land that kick. He doesn't want flicky kicks. People will talk about female fighters as not really having power because they're not going to like knock you out with a kick or like really hurt you with a kick. But that doesn't mean it's light. The technique itself carries a lot of like whipping, painful action with it. And you can see in the way that he was emphasizing the roll on the shin of that kick that you really want to drive your shin into the opponent's body as you're landing. So he's trying to get me to use rhythm on when to send my kick. I don't quite have it because I'm trying to like imitate his stance and like kind of jerky movements and faking and things like this. I'm not on the same rhythm. But in him asking, you can see how he thinks about the kick. Like all of his movement is how to hide his kick, like how to sneak that point in. So he's like, if someone's going to kick you on the side, block it. Just always be ready to block on that side. Especially because right now I'm standing southpaw and he's standing orthodox. So I know where his kick is coming from all the time. Most people only kick with their power leg. So I only need to block with my left leg all the time. So he's he's telling me to have him go first, and then I counter him. I either block and kick back or dodge and kick back.
Elbow. Swing elbow.
But look at how he throws in like upward elbows and back elbows from this range. So he's like teep and kick with his long range over and over again. And then if your opponent works his way in, then you've got these spinning back elbows and upward elbows. It's pretty nasty because they put themselves there. Like he's not covering all that distance to get in close. He wants to be at kicking range all the time. Look at his stance. Look at the bow in his knees. And then look at how loose, like the angle from his shoulder to his elbow and his hands. But then his hands are so loose. He's getting me to catch the kick and throw it. And you basically, when you're throwing it across someone's body, is you're just getting them super off balance to guarantee that your point is going to get in on the other side of it. See how he doesn't throw it hard, but he like tosses it down a little bit? And he's catching it. Look at his left hand. See how it like catches the front of my shin? He's taking out some of the impact as he catches it. But he catches it really casually, like he's not catching it super hard against his body. Anytime he wants. Look at his fancy step-offs too. He's such a showman. Can't help himself. It's awesome. There's this really amazing kicking war between him and Karahat. It's just 5 rounds of endless game of tag of kicking. And he wins. Silapathai wins. And I asked Karahat why he kicked with Silapathai, who's this incredible kicker. And Karahat like threw his arms in the air and he's like, what am I going to do? Like, how else am I going to fight Silapathai? Like, he's like, unless I cut him, I really don't have a chance. See how he's making me watch his foot coming forward? When his foot comes forward, that's when I do the step over for that swinging back elbow. He was going back, that's why I don't go. I have to wait for him to come in. And I have to pay attention to a couple of things at once to be able to block as well. So that bend that he has in his knees, like the flexibility in his knees, he also has at his hip that allows him to do those like dodge backs.
Hands above your.
I'm dropping
your
my
guard,
hands a
baby.
lot.
Just
Like I'm
try
trying to be
hands.
relaxed, so my guard is getting really low. His guard stays pretty low in his relaxation, but it comes up at perfect moments. Like he's never really caught off guard with his hands down.
Let's show.
Here he's teaching me that step off. So the teep and the step off is basically doing the bull and matador with your opponent a little bit, but it allows him to stay really close by pivoting off. So I'm like, when you pivot off, do you then have to step closer? And he's like, no. See how he went into the position where I could kick him.
Put your hands
So
up there.
just by stepping off, I put him at the right angle for me to throw that kick. He keeps emphasizing the turn of the foot for that monkey kick. It's really important for him. It's the same kick that Sanchai uses. I think it's nice for a southpaw
Hands up.
fighter because you're getting right into the open side of your opponent. So here he's trying to get me to work my block and kick together. So basically you intercept your opponent and nullify their point and immediately tag back before they're ready to block you. So if you're going to be a really tricky opponent, the way fighter, the way Silapathai is, you need to have really good speed and timing. He has that. He's really good. So I'm asking, if you fight a puncher, what do you do? He's saying it's important to be able to see really well. So he basically, if he's fighting a puncher, he's going to be like a super evasive boxer. Like he's just going to Mayweather the situation. But he says that it's really important to be able to see, which becomes really obvious when he starts to show me how to do this. Like, you don't just want to be moving meaninglessly. You want to be seeing where your opponent is trying to punch and dodging just enough out of the way and countering. He says if you just put your guard up, you can't see anything. Like, you don't just want to turtle yourself. You want to be able to be visually responding to everything that your opponent is doing. Trying to box with fighters like this is a nightmare. Look at his legs when he does that, getting out of the way. See how his back foot gets this extension? And his front foot just follows enough to get out of the way. But he's totally relaxed and ready to spring back. And he keeps pointing to his eyes. He's like, don't close your eyes. Stare your opponent right in the face so that you're like ready to move. You can see how slow I look and am because I don't have that flex. I'm a little better when I like spin off to the side like that. Watch his feet. All of the like punching and staring is happening in the upper body, but all of the actual response time is happening in his knees and his feet. Barely moves out of the way too, and he's like, look me in the eye. And look at the extension he gets on his own punches. Like, he wants to stay pretty far away because he wants to be on the end of his own punches. Like, the opponent needs to be on the end of his punches, but he wants to be just out of the way of his opponent's strikes. So he actually wants you to take a step back. Like, he does not want your feet to stay in one spot and just kind of like swivel your shoulders and hips around to get out of the way. But he uses it as a spring. So if he's going to take a little step back to get out of the way, he uses that to spring back at the opponent. It's not get out of the way, stay out of the way. It's get out of the way and strike back. Look at his footwork. See how he goes in the same direction over and over again too. So he's like pivoting around his opponent. So he's saying
He moves on
Silapathai is always
he
looking,
moves his
like
feet.
he's always watching.
But he moved every time. A little bit.
So I can't quite see his full picture because I'm standing right in front of him and getting all tense and freaking out trying to do what he's telling me to do. But if you watch him from this distance and you watch him on video and you can see him in front of me, you can watch the points that are important or how he gets out of the way and when he gets out of the way. And it's his joints, right? So like you watch his knees, and the flex in his knees and his hips, and how he like twists just a little bit, and you'll see his shoulders change level to get his head out of the way. But he's kind of not even blocking. Like if I block, he's like, no, don't stay there, get out of the way. Because to him, it's super easy to make that tiny shift and just get completely out of the way of the punch, just to miss it entirely. Whereas I've got more of the like stay and tank approach, which is like take a few but block it. I'm trying to get that flex in my feet, but I don't have it in my knees. So my feet, like my ankles are going, but my knees don't have the flexibility to carry it all the way through. So it becomes more tense as it rises into my body, whereas he's more flexible from the feet up. He's trying to get me not to flinch, like not to close my eyes or cover at all, like always look. He's like, just use your feet, like dodge with your feet. And look at how much distance I'm taking. I started to get the timing and the rhythm on that, which was good, but taking bigger steps than is necessary, which means that you have to cover that distance again for your counter. So there, back, but then pivot. You don't back again and pivot. It's back, no back, pivot. But see how he's still using his teep and his jab to keep his opponent at the distance that he wants.
Arms are long.
His arms look crazy long, like from elbow to the hand, they look really long. You can see how relaxed he is from the waist down. Look at those tiny movements. It's just like flicking. It's just flicking his body a little bit. When you're tense, you become heavy and slow, which is what I'm kind of struggling with. Is that I'm trying to stay tense in order to be fast, but that's not how that works. So I'm like, you keep your front foot here and just kind of like move your back foot around. It's like, yeah, because if you step your front foot back, now that you switch stance, you're slow. Like you can't move again. You're going to get tagged.
Always bring the feet together a little bit.
Yeah, he's always on his front foot.
He keeps his feet quite
Always
close
front
together
foot.
at times. He has this crazy wide water skipper stance, but then there are times when he's like waiting
That's
for the
back foot.
opponent to attack, but he keeps his feet very close together. It's like Samart, how he looks like he's waiting for a bus, just standing there. I'm asking, do you keep your weight on your front foot? Because you can't lift it if you do that.
ใช้ตัวนี้ใช้ครับ
ใช่
เอาแขนใช้ป้องกัน ป้องกันคือแขน
So he actually does not
He
block
catches.
on his front side, he just catches.
ชุดที่นี่นะไม่ได้
That's
ที่นี่ไม่ได้
interesting to me, because if you keep your weight on your front foot, you cannot block those front kicks. Like if someone is kicking, if
So
I'm
he just
southpaw
forget about this
and
side
someone
and
is
catch
kicking
every
me
time.
with their left leg, I
คุณ
can't
คิก
bring my leg up to block
เนี่ย
it
ผมไปไหนไม่ได้
because I'm on my front foot. He's like, just catch it.
ครับเร็ว
ใช่
So basically, what I was saying before, how you know someone's just going to be throwing their back kick all the time, so you just block on one side. You block the power kick, but if it's coming to your front side, don't worry about it. It's your closed side, just catch it.
ใช่
In clinching, he just likes to keep his arms on the inside and control.
ที่นี่
He's got this like T-Rex,
He look
awesome
clinch?
bent arm,
Yeah.
and then he grabs the body and just gets out of the way. So he nullifies the clinch as fast as he can, and then tries to get like a throw or a twist or a position where the position is dominant rather than actually trying to score a lot. If you're a clincher, you want to score in this. You want to get to a position where you can throw a lot of knees.
ถ้าเมื่อเขาที่นี่
But he doesn't want to be in the clinch, so he wants to nullify it and then score by dominant
ต่อสู้
position.
ถ่ายเวลาคุณสู้เดิน
ครับ
มาจบก่อนคุณสู้จบ
So I'm like, if your opponent is coming towards you, you never grab first.
อย่า
He's like, no, I don't want to grab my opponent.
ใช่
I just want to nullify
เอ
it.
อฮะ
Look how I can stay on one leg. This is bullshit, guys. Like, I should totally be able to like throw him down with his leg up in the air like that, and I can't do it.
Grip him.
Can you
because he
walk
keeps
around
his
it?
leg too far away
think
from
so.
me, so I have to reach
Yeah.
too far to get to his standing leg.
ใช่
อืม
And now I'm trying to get to the outside, like around his knee, and I can't get over because he's keeping my upper body in place with his arms.
สามคอเข่ามาก
เออ
So when he fought
ๆ
Sankor,
ถึงหรือ
he
เรื่องที่นี่
Silapathai
Yeah.
basically just
Yeah.
locked him
Yeah.
like this all the time.
แล้วก็ไม่ได้ที่นี่ไม่ได้ไม่ได้
Sankor is trying to like
ที่นี่
climb over him. No good.
ที่ไทยวิน
เราดูการเทมวยกับคาราพัดพาโยกแตะ
ไทยหัด
So I'm asking him about his fight with Karhat and how they just kicked all the time. And Silapathai was like, yeah, that one was all just like a game of chess.
ใช่
He's like, I don't want any
ปั๊บ
knees.
คิกปั๊บคิก
So
ปั๊บ
basically you
คิก
just catch and throw
ที่ไท
other
ย
people's kicks
ก็เล
and
ยหัดปั๊บ
land
คิ
your
กไป
kicks.
คิกแต่ศิลปะไทยวันคิก
ใช่
ทูปั๊บปั๊บ
ใช่
Oh.
So he's saying Karahat would kick him once and Silapathai would kick
ทุก
twice.
คน
ใช่
คิก
So
โอเค
you get your one
Silapathai.
point with the like good kick and then you throw the
Yeah,
teep
Silapathai
on top of
too.
it, which can off balance them if they're trying to counter you, or it can just be another additional little point, like a greater irritation.
ครับใช่
But Silapathai also
Come
has
on.
these incredible head kicks.
ปั๊บ
Look at how fast that is.
It's like question
And he's
mark
just,
kick a little bit.
He's just messing
He
around.
doesn't even go low first. It's
มา
like
ก็กอด
flutters.
อ่ะ
So he looks like he's gonna teep or
How's he
something,
do?
but then he kicks the
ใช่
head.
ใช่ไหม
ครับใกล้ๆแต่ต้องใช้ความเร็ว
So he's saying you have to be close, Gagai. You have to be really close first.
ปั๊บ
But look at what he's doing with his hand.
มี
The ankle like drops
เรา
into
เดิน
the
ก็ได้ครับ
neck.
ใช่
So
เรา
this
ถอย
little
ก็ได้
pop
เรา
into
ถอยก็
the
ได้
neck.
เราเดินก็ได้
ใช่
He's like, if your
That's
opponent's
right.
backing up like
ปั๊บ
this,
อ่า
you're gonna have to
Yep.
follow them down.
สวยมากใช่ไหม
ครับ
Question
อ่า
mark. You have
Good.
to. You have to go.
ต้องให้ตรงนี้ถูกครับปั๊บ
ใช่
He's saying that
Me.
basically the like top
Yep,
of your
yep,
foot
you
hit with
is
your
what
foot.
hits
Yeah, but it's a question mark
neck.
kick. It
but
goes.
it kind of wraps around the back a little bit.
Uh,
He like drops it
side
in,
not
so it's
maybe
like
yeah.
using the
Side.
weight
Side maybe
of
not.
the foot itself, like
Side
a,
maybe
like a
not.
counterweight,
Uh,
just dropping
not.
into the neck.
เรามันมีสองอย่าง เรามองคู่ต่อสู้ไม่รู้จะทำอะไร
ใช่
เราทำได้
ใช่
He's like, there are two ways to do
Long,
this.
long,
One
the
is if
So you
the
just have to
opponent
watch
has
the
no
opponent
idea what's going
and what
on.
the opponent is doing. But they start dropping their hands because he's teeping all the time.
So he
Oh,
teeps,
the
teeps,
teep
teeps,
set
they
it
start
up.
dropping
Look
their
at the foot,
hands,
yeah.
and then he throws the head kick.
ฮะ
ใช่
ปั๊บ
The other thing is if
Yeah.
the opponent is a puncher. He's
Come on.
like, I love when people are punchers.
ปิ้ง
But learn the
Because
technique.
while they're punching, that neck becomes exposed.
ทำไง
เทคนิค
So I'm asking him, how do you do this? What's the
technique.
technique for Silapathai's head
He
kick?
doesn't go low first.
He
But he
doesn't.
Huh?
turns
He
it
doesn't
over.
do fully a question mark
Back.
kick. Like he
Here.
doesn't fake
Oh.
going low
อ่า
first.
ที่นี่
Stop.
But it
Ma,
doesn't
here.
look like he's gonna teep just
Ma.
because the angle of his hip and his knee
Look where he
is the
stands.
same on all of these different kicks. Look at how he just plants it on my shoulder.
ทุกคนมองที่นี่
ใช่
คนมองที่
He's
นี่
like, everybody is soft right here.
Around.
It's a soft spot on
Around.
every person. So you want to kick kind of the back of the
ครับ
neck. And it wraps around someone's guard. It wraps around their punch.
ก่อนแตะ
นิดหน่อยครับ
I'm
นิดหน่
asking,
อย
do you
นิดหน่
step
อย
over?
มันอยู่
He's
ที่
like,
จังหวะ
not really. Just a
อยู่ที่
little.
จังหวะว่าอยู่แบบไหน แต่ถ้าอยู่อย่างเงี้ยคนละทีเอาพุทธเต็มมาเตะปุ๊บ
So
คลิกมา
he wants me to kick.
ปั๊บปั๊บนะคลิก
See where his foot
ปั๊บ
goes.
ปั๊บปั๊บอยู่ที่จังห
See
วะ
how he turns his foot sideways
ถ้าคุณ
in
อยู่
order
ห่าง
to
ผมก็ขยับ
launch that kick.
แต่ถ้าคุณอยู่ใกล้ผมต้องขยับ
ใช่
ผมขึ้นแล้วผมเตะเลย
ใช่ถ้า
He's like, if your front foot gets close, your back foot's going to follow
ถอย
through.
ก่อนครับ
So when you're throwing your kick, you just worry about where your front kick is, like where your front standing foot is going to be.
ครับคลิกทีบ
ใช่
ครับ
ใช่
He's like, head kick, teep.
วัตเตอร์ครับวัตเตอร์เหนื่อยมากที่ไทยที่ไทยลิงเยอะขึ้นนิดหน่อยที่ลุมพินี
ผิดเลย
ลิง
He said he had gone to Lumpini the night before and had some drinks, so he's feeling a little tired today. So I'm practicing this head kick on the bag so that I can kind of get actual velocity on it, which allowing him to kick at actual speed.
การขอครับ
Holy balls. Look at how fast that is.
การลำตัว
Look at my face. Like, I don't even want to feel that.
มุ่นแบบใช่ไหมถ้านี่มุ่นแบบ
It's so over.
It's like a rainbow. It just,
แต่ท่าข้างบน
look at his hip go.
นี่สะโพก
Is hip
สะโพกนะถ้า
It's
ลำตัว
all in the hip for him.
สะโพกจะอยู่อย่างนี้ปั๊บตรงนี้ครับแต่ถ้าข้างบนเนี่ยยกสะโพก
So he's saying it's the same as like a middle kick. You just bring your hip up a little bit higher, but you're still turning it.
เนี่ยยก
Kick
สะโพก
goes out
แล้วก็
first, right?
yeah.
นี่ตะเยงขึ้นครับ
And he turned his
So
foot
he's
out.
like, pay attention to your standing foot, come up on your toe, and turn your standing foot to
Yeah.
the side,
อ่า
but then you're
When
sending
you
the
twist
hip,
your foot, you have to be on
you're
your
twisting
toe
the hip of the kicking
to
leg.
get the like full pivot for
ครั
your
บ
hip.
ถ้าลำตัวปุ๊บลำตัวปุ๊บครับ
See how I'm just stepping forward? You have to step
โลโอเค
slightly out.
แบกปั๊บแบกปั๊บเนี่ย
And then he wants you to come back to starting position.
ปั๊บสั่นได้โอเคปั๊บ
I'm like, once my foot hits the bag, I'm done with the kick. That's not true. You're done with the kick after you've brought your leg back and are ready to kick
ได้
again.
ครับ
It's like a full start to finish is being ready to kick again.
ติดพี่น้องอยู่อ่ะเนี่ยดูได้ฮะดูได้ฮะยัง
Oh,
ดูได้ครับ
how pretty is that?
It's so pretty.
So much power, too. Damn. This is the thing. People teach you
did do
incredible
Sanchay.
technique in shadow, but until you can see it at like full speed,
yeah.
ทุกคนมีอาจารย์คนเดียว
ใช่
พี่ผา
พี่ปา
เป็นอาจารย์ศิลปไทย
ใช่
เป็นอาจารย์แสนชัยพี่ผาnumber 1 10 เซมปุ๊บ
You said they
so
got
he's saying that Pipa is who taught him how to teach like that.
พี่ปา
Oh.
And then Sanchai learned it. Sanchai is a little bit younger than Silapathai.
เทรน
So he's saying we both have the same teeth because we have the same teacher, which is Pipa.
ใช่
เนี่ย
ใช่
ตัวตรงๆครับตัวตรงๆ
Look at how he's positioning my back.
ตัวตรงๆครับ
He's like, don't distort
Go from
yourself.
southpaw.
Like, don't go, like, I'm leaning my shoulders from side to side for balance.
อ่า
My back should be straight. The reason he wants my back straight is because it
And then your hip
fires
come?
all the power. Like, my
Yeah.
full body power goes into that knee.
เนี่ย
The way that he does it, you go, oh shit, when he hits the back. The way that I'm like twisting my shoulders, my power is actually like going off in different directions before I even hit the bag.
แน่นอน
like in the middle like right in the middle
I'm asking him where you make contact, whether it's on the ball of the foot or the blade of the foot or the heel, and he says it's the whole foot. Like you basically want it to be right in the middle.
แขนเหมือนกันที่
So I'm asking what you do with your hands,
ปึ๊บปล่อยแขนขวา
and he's like, just throw it the way you would for a
หรือว่า
kick.
สมมติว่า
But he's saying you have to keep that guard up
ผู้ต่อสู้ชึบ
because if
ผู้
the
ต่อสู้มี
opponent gets out of the
คือ
way,
เหมือนเราจะถีบถีบ
you want to have your guard up.
ชึบเราต้องถีบ
My guard's not up.
โดนต่อยที่นี่
Because they might counter.
ครับพอเราถีบปั๊บเนาะอย่างนี้ที่นี่โอเคปั๊บเนี่ยบล็อก
ใช่
So you have your guard up in case the teep doesn't work.
พลาดนี่ปั
ครับ
ง
ครับ
And if you miss and you put your foot in front and you've switched your stance, you're totally open for a head kick if you're fighting Silapathai.
ครับ
You can see my shoulders move before I throw this teep because I'm trying to like load it. It's when he does it, it's not a like load and fire. The entire thing is one movement.
ถ้า
It's like a spear.
เราต้องเร็ว
ใช่
ต้องเร็วมาก
ใช่
ๆถ้าช้าไม่ทัน
ใช่
He's saying the important thing about a head kick is speed. If you do it slow, people see it and they just get out of the way.
ใช่
ต้องเร็ว
The number one thing about the head kick is speed.
ใช่
Power comes out of the speed. Power comes out of the accuracy. But the main thing is being fast with it.
ครับเร็วแล้วก็นี่
So he wants me to be hitting with the top of my foot.
ไล่ตามไหมคะ
But it
นิดหน่อยครับนิดหน่อย
has to like,
ฮะ
again, just kind of flop down into the neck.
He like he's
Oh
straight
my
and
god.
from
He's
the
so
from
fast.
the knee though.
It's kind of like the Samart
Yeah, but not. It's still bent a little bit.
So Samart does this thing that we call like the arrow, which is he kicks and straightens his leg at the last second. So it goes this like boing, like as it makes contact. It's a little bit like that with his kick. And he's making this point about why he drops it into the neck. He says if you don't bring it high and drop it in, it might get caught on the shoulder. Like it might just die on the shoulder. So you bring it too
right hand
high
on guard.
and drop it over the shoulder into the
อ่า
neck.
ครับดี
which is something that Yo Kung Pan says to do on middle kicks to get over someone's block. So there is, in quite a few kicks, this kind of like overshoot it and drop it in.
ใช่
เตะก้านคอไม่ได้
ใช่
ไม่รู้ศิลปไทย45ช้าแล้วช้าแล้วไม่เหมือน
He's complaining that he's 45 years old, so he's slow. He's like twice as fast as me. He's like, I'm slow, it's not impressive.
ปั๊บยัน
โอ้ย
มาสุปั๊บยัน
ใช่
And see how he makes the entire thing
แต่
from start to finish is set up to like get the timing.
From
You
south-
launch it, and
from
then after
southpaw,
you
this could
land
be
it,
big-
you come
a big
back
weapon.
to your position.
Open side.
yeah.
So this is really good for me as a southpaw because this is kicking into someone's open side if they're orthodox. But it also means that if someone does this from standard, I'm open to that. So that's why you keep your guard up for sure.
ครับปั๊บเย่
I'm trying to get his like
ปั๊บ
twitchy footwork,
Yeah,
but
a lot.
I don't have a lot of meaning in my movements. All of his are very practiced. Like he spent so much time doing those little movements to understand what each of them do. He's saying don't dance for no reason.
รู้ว่าเราจะทำอะไร
ใช่
He's like, if you keep your feet moving, the opponent doesn't know what you're going to do.
เราหลอก
If you stay really still, the minute you move, you're betraying what you're going to do. Whereas if you keep your feet moving, it's like, where's he going to go? When's he going to strike? What's he going to do? That's why it's so cool that all of his kicks look the same when they start.
ใช่ไหม
ครับ
อย่างนี้
ครับที่เตะ
When I was watching his fight,
วะ
I didn't know what he was going to do. They all looked the same.
Mm.
This is always really good in these sessions when I'm learning techniques from these guys and to be able to
อย่างนี้
go
ไม่ได้ครับเรา
practice it on a bag because that's how you're going to be training it. That's how I'm going to be training it.
อ่า
So being able to take these techniques and immediately apply them to a bag is brilliant because that's how you're going to practice it. But then you have to bring it back to actual timing and sparring and things like that because
Ask
that's
him from
where
southpaw.
the
Which you go this way or this way?
That's
technique
why he
makes
switched me to
sense.
the left side is because I'm southpaw.
Mm.
Because then you go to the opponent's open side.
Mm.
ใช่ไหมว่าถ้าโมซ้าย
มือซ้าย
ตรงทำนี่ดี
ได้
กว่า
ครับเหมือน
So
กัน
I'm asking about which direction to go as a southpaw.
ซ้ายก็ได้ซ้ายผมเนี่ยปั๊บ
He's saying you can go both ways. But again, this is
ที่นี่ไม่ได้
see how it comes
So
up
he
and
stepped
drops
from
in.
southpaw. He stepped that way. He stepped this way.
when standing southpaw.
He go that way.
So
No.
Kevin and I are having a discussion
Go that
about
way.
what he's telling me to
Go
do.
this way.
We
Yep.
are agreeing with each other, but not understanding
เพราะ
that
ว่า
we're agreeing with
คุณ
each other.
ถนัดซ้ายคุณต้องซ้ายถ้าคุณขวาเมื่อไหร่คุณไม่มีแรง
ใช่
ขวาไม่มีแรง
He's saying that if you go the other direction, rather than making it about open side, he's saying that there's no power
ปั๊บ
if you go the other
เหมือน
way.
กันเหมือนผมเดินไปหา
This is also much faster because your opponent is walking towards you. You don't throw this when your opponent is going away from you. You throw this when the opponent is coming towards you.
เร็วเลยปั๊บ
Look at him try to get that
ครับ
timing out of me.
ถ้าเราช้าไม่ได้ผู้ต่อสู้ที่นี่
ใช่
ไม่ได้แต่ถ้าเรา
He's like, if you do it slowly, the opponent's going to block. You have to do it quick so that the opponent doesn't see it coming at all. And now he's telling me that he knocked out 3 people with this.
สังหรินเพชรเอกสสุวรรณพักดีแชมเปี้ยนทุกคน
ใช่
แล้วก็เป็นเด็ก1 ครั้ง
He knocked out good people with this.
He had 3 knockouts with that spinning
With the
back
elbow.
Yeah.
แอปบุซิงแอปบุคิว
Oh.
คิวทูลาดดำเนิน
Oh.
ราชดำเนิน
2 people at Rajadamner and he knocked out with
ขอน
that.
แก่นวัน
And then one time in Konkan.
ก็ซื้อผู้ชายมีบอมเวลาใกล้ๆเชือกไม่ทำบ่อย
So sometimes in fights, when Silapathai gets his opponent close to the ropes, he throws these like 1-2 punches. And he just goes after, like he does not stop. It's just this like pop, 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 like punching.
มีที่นี่ครับเราไม่กลัว
But he's not a super puncher. Like he doesn't spend a lot of
ที่
time
นี่เรา
punching.
เนี่ย
It's
เรา
only
มอง
when he gets his
เรา
opponent
มอง
in the
เราต่อย
ropes.
ปุ้งเรา
And
มอง
he's like, you have to look. It's the same thing of him dodging punches.
ผมวางมาแล้วผมขอ
It's
มาแล้ว
like when you see that your opponent has nowhere to go, that's when you can start doing these like quick,
ปุ้งปุ้งนะ
just keep punching because the opponent is stuck on the ropes.
ปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บ
Look at how fast.
so สไตล์ซัมซันอีสาน นี่ทำไม
So I'm like, the style of Samson Hassan is just to cover and go. Silapathai's like, no, it's easy.
His defense is just like seeing every single thing.
If you want to
But he
look at like
doesn't do those-
opposite
he doesn't do
tactics,
those.
No, no,
it's
just like when
Silapathai
you saw
and
him go-
Samson.
yeah, yeah.
They both work,
Yeah.
but
Do you ever
completely
fight
different
Samson?
systems.
No, perfect.
Not the same site?
He never fought Samson.
น้ำหนักไม่เท่า
เอาน้ำหนักโอเคซัมซันที่ลุมพินีซิมไทยที่รัฐดำเนิน
Oh.
They never
Promoter.
fought each other because Samson was a Lumpini fighter and Silapathai was
เซ
Rajadamnern.
มกับ
So
ทรงชัย
it's not the same promoters. So they often you'll have these incredible fighters who really would have made amazing fights, but they didn't fight each other because they were from different promotions.
ทรงชัยนะ
ใช่ใช่ชกกับใครชอบมาก
I asked him who he liked fighting.
ผมหนึ่งครั้งหลักหิน
โอ้
He fought
Lakin.
แข็ง
Lakin.
แรงมาก
Holy shit, I want to see that fight.
Fight
Lakin was
Silapathai.
incredibly strong. He's
Beautiful
a
and
puncher
superstar.
and just
สตา
solid.
ร์ของ
His
ประเทศ
name
ไทย
basically
ชนะ
means like
หลักหิน
cornerstone.
ที่เราไทยชอบมากทีบ
So
ทีบ
strong.
100
To see Silapathai's like
ทีบ
style
ทูปึ๊บ
against
โอ้
Lakin, who's so
Right.
strong, would have been really fun to watch.
ป้า
คุณ YouTube ศิลปไทยหลักหิน
Oh.
มี
He says this on YouTube. I'll have to find it.
116 teeps he landed on Lakin
16
Oh,
teams
yeah.
against
Oh.
Lakin
Lakin is
in that
strong
fight.
he's like
ยูต้อง
go
โอเคโอคู่เคโอทุกคนเคโอเซมไทยปึ๊บ
So Lakin knocked everyone out. So Silapathai was like, gotta keep him off of me, which is how his system works, right? With that teep and that jab, just to keep people at his
ศิลปไทย
kicking range.
number one
ใช่
ชนะหลักหินชนะจมอกเพชรแชมเปี้ยน
He
ศิ
beat
ลปไทยได้แชมเปี้ยน
Chamong Pet, who is from the Hapalong gym. He had lots of gym names, but he was a knee
แช
fighter.
มเปี้ยน122
ราชดำเนิน
Really good. Chamong Pet would have been a fun fight to watch because he's very active as well, but a knee fighter.
แพ้ศิลปไทย
ใช่ใช่ชกกี่ปี
ไม่เข้าใจ
I asked him how many years he fought. He started when he was
ผม
10.
เริ่มชก
He came to Jockygym when he was like 12,
แล้วก็ยก
and
เลิ
then
กอายุ
he
เท่าไหร่
retired when he
ย
was
กเลิก
28.
24 ปีครับ24 ปี
he started when he
So,
was
like-
13
24, 26
15
years he
minutes.
was a fighter. That's a long time.
do you want to do clinch a little bit
Yeah, maybe and spar a little bit.
ก็ต้องทำประมาณ15 นาที
ครับ
So I'm asking him whether we can do a little bit of
Bum.
clinching
ปั๊
and
ม
sparring.
นิดหน่อย
ครับ
แล้วก็ทำ
Sparring with this kind of
Oh.
fighter
Yeah.
is always interesting. So this gym is the original Jockey Gym, but it's called Skarbowski now because it was
Are you
bought by
clinching
Charles
or
No,
Skarbowski.
sparring.
But it still has the same people who grew up in the gym.
Mm.
So Silapathai, Deepa is there sometimes. I went to see Hon Chong Noi was there. These are
Let's see,
guys
he
who
still
grew up
teach
in the
you,
gym
Sylvie.
together, and they're
Sylvie.
still trainers
He's
there,
still
which is
teaching.
really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So you tell him, not just you.
โอ้สตาร์ทโอเคช่วยอัพทูยู
Up to you. How the hell do you get in on Silapathai? Up to you.
โอ้ย
Look at how much balance he has. Just watch him. I can't get in. Just watch him. But the way that he can just stay on one leg and he'll fire that teep or he'll kick and then have a floating block. He's really hard to interrupt. And this is him not feeling good. This is him feeling like tired and hungover and old or whatever. And he's still totally able to just do whatever he wants. And then he just stands there because he knows I'm not going to be able to get him back. But this is what I was talking about. Look at his feet, right? So he stands with his feet super close together when he's waiting for me to strike. But then there are times that he'll get this super wide stance and he like does his water skipper back and forward.
So we learn something.
Against this type of fighter, it's very
something,
hard
Sylvie.
to like get instruction and learning through sparring because you're basically just like thwarted by everything. Adachai is really good at it in that he kind of will put in little pieces for you to work on.
Learn
as
something.
you're going. But a lot of this kind of sparring is realizing how many things are difficult to land on someone whose main game is timing and snuffing. Oh. So he sees when my kicking opportunity is. He's yelling kick because he's like, you can kick me right now, which means he actually kind of stopped to let me kick, and I didn't see it. Oh, landed
Learn something,
perfectly, like a little bird
Ask the
alighting on
question.
my shoulder.
Watch him. Learn something.
Look at how he's using that forward check a little bit. But I'm asking him, you keep your feet so close together sometimes. What is that?
Very close together.
And he's like, it's for timing. He's just
That's
bouncing
his
that
forward
guard.
check.
So he can use
That's
this
a forward check.
It's a forward check.
And he switches stance a little bit. So now he's southpá.
How
Now
does
he's
he use it?
orthodox.
How does he use that?
I'm trying to copy it.
And he's basically just using it to make it so that I don't want to kick. It's really effective.
เวลาขาสูงแล้วทำแขนทำอะไร
So I'm like, if someone puts their knee up, do you mess with their arms? And he's like, no, you control their arms. So see how he puts his leg up and then uses his hands to control my upper body.
ก็ต้องใกล้ๆก่อน
Because generally, if he's going to go on one leg, I can now knock him over or punch him or something. But I should be going after his standing leg with kicks or something like that. But he's so distracting with all the different ways that he's interrupting me that you get kind of fixated on things that aren't your strength. Look at just those little movements. Now he's got his wide stance where he's like, come get me. But then when he comes after me, he looks like Sanchai, his little like gallop forward.
Well, talk to him.
Look at his hip position. And again, the bend in his knees, and he kicks me and then just stands there because he knows I'm not going to get him back. There, I punched him in the face as he was on one leg, and he's like, yeah, that was good.
Sweepy, ask
But you
him
have to
questions,
anticipate the
please.
counter.
Oh,
Like, you
it's
have to
just
know
10
there's going to be
minutes
that counter and keep coming in. All I can do is tire him out.
รอครับรอที่นี่คู่ต่อสู้เขา
So I'm asking him, what do you do
ครับ
with an opponent coming in? And he's like, you just wait. You wait for the opponent and have that forward check ready to teep.
แข่งได้ครับโอเค
รอไม่ใช่อาวุธออก
So I'm like, you're never first. And he's like, no, not really. I like to
ออก
counter.
ก่อนโอเคเริ่มออกก่อนปักโอเค
He's like, if I go first, that's great, but he throws two. So if he's going to go first, if he kicks, he has that teep on top of it. Otherwise, he wants the opponent to go first so that he can ruin their point and counter.
ครับคิกปักyeah
So there's his kick and teep.
yeah คิกปักทีป
ใช่
So normally an opponent would take a step forward or try to kick back or something. And so by you floating
คิก
the leg after the kick and teeping, you're interrupting almost all of their choices as a counter.
บล็อกฮึบเฮ้ยบล็อกเฮ้ย
Look at how he brings his hip forward on that block as well. It's really nice because not only does it shut out the point really well, but it kind of hurts.
วินงงมาตลอดไม่เคยแพ้
ใช่
สินไทยชอบ
ตลอดใช่ไหม
ครับสินไทยชอบ
ใช่
He said he liked to fight against punchers and knee fighters because he always won. Because he's always just waiting for them to close that distance, but then he snuffs their points.
แต่ว่าขวาปัง
มือขวาชนะ
ชนะ ปัก
See how I slow down and start creeping in? But because he's just waiting, he's basically in my head. So like I'm trying to get close enough to get a point, but I actually slow down by the time I get to the point where I could be scoring, which allows him to just counter everything. Kicking my ass and he gets tired.
ไม่ได้อาวุธไม่ออก
Ask him, because he's on his front leg, is he not worried about front leg kicks?
อ๋อ
Because he
So
has
because
weight
he's
on
on
his
his
leg.
front leg all the time,
Like, how
an
does he
easy
deal
target
with
would
that?
be going after his front leg for kicks. So I'm gonna ask him about this.
มีคู่ต่อสู้แตะขาไหม
มีครับมี
ทำอะไร
วีรพล
ใช่
วีรพลสหคม
ใช่
So he's saying only one opponent ever really did this to him, Weerapon. He beat Weerapon with that backwards elbow one time. But one time Weerapon beat him by just bashing the
Weerapon.
shit out of his legs.
ใช่
วีรพลศิลปไทยที่นี่
He says it's on YouTube, you can see
Wait,
it.
who? Whereupon hit him?
Yeah.
Because front leg.
ศิลปไทยออกที่นี่
ใช่
So Silapathai would block,
Oh.
and Weerapon would kick his standing leg under it.
ที่นี่
You can see how he remembers this, how awful this
ไม่
experience
ได้
was.
ที่นี่
Just went
But this is
behind
the
it,
thing, is
ศิลปไทย
that his style, it's hard to kick his legs because he's always
วี
moving.
รพลคนเดียว
But if you start tagging them, it slows him down, and he's a kicker. If you can take his legs out, what's he gonna do?
Most people don't go
Oh.
for
วีร
it.
พล
So he says because he moves so much, most people don't go after his legs.
มองมองนะ
But he was fighting Weerapon, who's got really good punches. So he was just watching Weerapon's hands all the time.
He looks
And
like
Weerapon's
shoulders.
like,
Who does?
I don't even need to punch. I'm
You
just
look
going
at
to
the
tag your
shoulders.
So he
legs.
knows
So
if
he
people
looked
are
like he was
gonna
going to
strike
punch
or
him,
whatever, so
but then
he's
he
always
was
just, like,
hitting his
watching.
legs instead.
มอง
ใช่
วีรพลที่นี่ปักวีรพลที่นี่ที่ไป
So Weerapon was like staring him in the face, like, yeah, I'm going to punch you, and then kicking instead.
ต่อยหมัดปกติใช่ไหม
นี่มาครับวีรพลนี่มา
ใช่
ครับสองครั้ง
ใกล้
ใกล้ๆครับใกล้ๆ
So Weerapon had to stay really
ใกล้
close.
ที่นี่ต่อยที่นี่เตะที่นี่
ๆใช่
ศิลปไท
So
ย
he said he was punching him up
วีร
top
พลที่นี่
Oh.
and then kicking him down low.
วีรพลดู
จำได้แล้ว
ทำได้ครับ
Only fight one
Like you
time?
remember that, huh?
No,
He's
it's not
like, yeah, I
many times,
remember.
but that's the only time he did that. ชกกี่ครั้งวีรพล
สองครั้งผมแพ้หนึ่งครั้งชนะหนึ่งครั้ง
He won once and then lost the leg kick one.
Mm.
ครั้งแรกผมโดนน็อกยกห้าครั้งสองผมชนะคะแนน
So the first time they fought,
ว่าเวลา
he knocked Weerapon out in round 5 with that spinning elbow.
ใช่ไหม
มีน็อกศอกกลับ
เหรอ
ครับ
อ่า
มีจำได้สองครั้ง
ใช่
ศอกกลับ
That's-
สามครั้ง
That's interesting because Weerapon comes forward, so that spinning back elbow is really good
อ่า
against an opponent who comes forward. But then
ใช่
Learn something.
Weerapon
and
was
clinch
like,
a
I'm not
little
going to
bit,
worry
5 minutes.
about blasting forward. I'm just going to
But
stay close
learn.
and go after
Don't
the
just
legs.
clinch. Right?
ความเทคนิคนิดเดียว
It's always interesting learning clinch technique from people who don't want to clinch because they're actually really good non-clinchers. Look at how relaxed he is. He's really good at finding that spot by my shoulder and
You go around
flipping
a
me to
lot.
the side. It's
Maybe
the same
learn-
thing he was
Sylvie,
saying before,
learn,
how it's like
learn.
you snuff it and then you get a dominant position.
ศิลปไทยไม่ชอบเขา
He said he likes knee fighters.
โนปั้มนะศิลปไทยปังฝีมือ
He doesn't like clinching, so he does this.
It's okay, but learn.
But look at
learn
how
it.
he climbs over my arms. Crew 10, who does like clinching, does that same thing for knees. So you basically grab with your front arm on the wrist, and then you climb up with your back arm on
It's
it.
like pretend.
ครับมา
It's a nice solid knee into the gut.
มาป้ามา
So I'm trying to get like a lock on him, but he's really good at finding these dominant positions. I can't get out of this. And then he doesn't even have to score a lot. He scores a few times and then just knocks me over.
ล็อก
ใช่
ล็อก
Ponsak Noi did the same thing, also at this gym.
หมุน
He
หมุน
would basically get to the side and spin out or throw someone as fast as possible. Like he wants his point to be one of dominant position rather than trying to get into a lock and like landing a bunch of knees. Yeah.
ทิ้งด้วยใช่ไหม
ครับทิ้งด้วย
So I'm trying to keep my arms on the inside, which is what he does with those like T-Rex arms. But he gets this underhook really easily.
He go palm to palm on a lock.
And then he's not locking around the neck.
Oh, wrist to wrist.
He's not locking for like immobility.
Find
He's
his
locking
lock.
in such a way that he can constantly twist to the side or like scoot around to the back.
ครับครับหมุน
That's not a lock
หมุน
That's like a get your arms locked so that your opponent can't wiggle out, and then you move to the side. But if you're like a locker, like Yodwicha, and you want to jam up the neck, You don't do wrist to wrist like that. You do like the front of your wrists to each other. We're not the same size. But look at how he chooses. He couldn't get his arm down, so he immediately went over the top and does a turn.
Learn.
It's so
Sylvie, learn.
interesting to see non-clinchers play.
Learn.
He's got good throws.
No, what?
So this one also, in the same way that the like spinning back elbow is for when your opponent's coming towards you, when you're gonna trip your opponent like that, it's better when
Pull
they're
or turn?
advancing on you, like that.
No, it's like a matador. Like a matador. Good.
So tired. So I'm like, I'm Muay Cow, I couldn't get on you, and he's like, oh, I've been talking shit about your style this whole time. But that's the thing about Muay Cow versus femur is that Muay Cow doesn't get tired. Go.
สองดีแต่ว่า
ไม่มี
ไม่ทำเหมือนกันเวลาการชก
ครับไม่ทำเลย
แต่ว่านักมวยเป็นครูเหมือนกันศิลปะไทย
ครับ
So I'm saying that it's kind of unusual for me to find
see his style
teachers
now
who
in
teach
his
the
fights,
same
not
way
like
that they
that.
fought back in
Oh,
the
it's
day.
exactly the same.
A
yeah.
lot of
Never
these legends, they have their same style, but they've kind of like worked on things since their retirement, and so there are things that they teach now that they didn't necessarily do in the ring. Silapathai is like carbon copy. He teaches now exactly the way that he fought in the ring. And he's basically
Ask
giving
him,
me the
was
like
he-
those
has he
who
been a
can't do
jockey his
teach.
whole career? When did he
thing.
start fighting? Where did he start fighting? When did he come to jockey?
มาค่ายมวยจ็อกกี้อายุเท่าไหร่
อายุ13
So he's from Udon Thani, which is way on the border in Assam.
ที่นี่ไม่คิดไปไหน
He came to Bangkok when he was 12.
Same gym or different location?
Same location, same gym.
ที่นี่ครับที่นี่
This one, this gym. Oi.
But this is sweet. He's saying that the ring was different. He said when he was a kid, the ring was really high.
Oh, he had a higher
It was
gym,
up to his
higher ring
chest.
before? He waved his hands like this. He said this Skarbowski put this
So
ring in.
this ring is Skarbowski Jim's ring. When he
It was a
came,
very high
the
ring
ring
here?
was like up to his
Oh.
chest.
Oh, it was over there. That's very cool.
That's very sweet, the way that he remembers the ring from when he was a kid being different. Like the gym was different because the ring was different.